Just about every kind of vested interest has jumped in the Shraddha murder case. There are politicians railing against live-in relationships. There are people who believe the girl was tortured and killed because of a love jihad angle, and not to be left behind, the liberal lobby looks at this case as yet another instance of the demonization of Muslims. The objective of this episode is not to comment on the innumerable conspiracy theories floating around or establish or debunk the validity of a mountain of accusations. For the simple reasons because I don't know. Some part of these accusations, a large part of the blame game or not, even one iota of the finger pointing could be true. Follow your politics wherever it leads you to. But there is an obvious reality staring us in the face which escapes everyone's attention. No, I'm not talking of the extent of the barbarity unleashed by Aftab on Shraddha, which has been well covered and revealed. The issue of estrangement of the relationship between Shraddha and her parents escapes the scrutinizing eye, or it could be that we quite simply just don't want to look in that direction. I want to talk about that because this issue serves as a lightning rod to what really is going on in our social setup. It is a significant issue of our times. But before I do that, a warm welcome to all viewers of the CAA show. CAA, as all of you know, is Conversations and Analysis, and my name is Juggi Bhasin. To watch our show, press the big red subscriber button on your screen, and subscription is, of course, completely free. The time I was growing up, there was a phrase used to describe difference of opinion or estrangement between children, especially young adults, and their parents. And that term was generation gap. The phrase really meant the older generations were unable to grasp the concerns, anxieties, and the priorities of the next generation, leading to animosity, ill will, and sometimes even separation. Something similar seems to be at work in the relationship between Shraddha and her parents. And believe me, it is not an isolated case. In city after city, in house after house, in family after family, the clash of generations is unending. The old generation gap is today's millennial gap problem, and it hasn't gone away. It is around and lurking in each house. The explanation that love jihad was at work, or the opposing viewpoint that any case or incident is good enough to demonize Muslims. Both explanations are too simplistic and barely scratch the surface of what is the real truth. Think about it. A girl, even after being repeatedly abused, beaten black and blue by Aftab, as new findings in the case reveal, does not pack her bags and go back to her parents or leaves that gowl of a man. It shows, in a certain sense, a complete breakdown of trust, accommodation, and even communication between parent and child. I'm not blaming the parents for this collapse, but trying to put a finger on our new social realities and how some of us, especially we, the older generation, are not responding well to change. The question is not about parents being more accommodative to interfaith marriages, but being more accommodative and understanding, and even skillful in handling the needs of their children, which many a time might appear to be irrational and misplaced. We forget our children are growing up at a time of economic uncertainty and great social and cultural upheaval and dizzying technological change. Even the most organized and well-balanced children get confused and rattled at what is going on around them. As we get older, we get more toughened to the inconsistencies of life. But spare a thought for our children who are extremely vulnerable, especially the young minds. There are 100 scenarios how Shraddha could have escaped her fate if her lines of communication had been open with her parents. Honestly, we will never know. But even horrible tragedies serve a purpose in life. This case should give us pause to reflect the need for parents to be more flexible and sensitive in their parenting, and for children to grow up in comfort that even if they fail in their endeavors or commit mistakes, the path leading back in the comforting arms of their parents is always open to them. And so, on this sober note, I come to the end of this episode of the CAA show. I hope you enjoyed this particular episode. If you like our show, do subscribe to us. And on this note, it's goodbye and cheers from my end.